Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great one from Allison James today. We're going to learn how to do Bleed the Freak. So this one's tuned down a half step. It is an E flat standard or D sharp standard, however you want to call it. So that is going to be every string tuned down a half step. So it's going to be a E flat or a D sharp on that sixth string. The fifth string will be an A flat or a G sharp, depending on how you your tuner reads it. The fourth string is going to be a D flat or a C sharp. The third string is going to be a G flat or F sharp. Second string is going to be a B flat or an A sharp. And then the high E string, or the first string, is going to be an E flat or a D sharp. All right, so we're going to get through the whole song. I'm not going to do all the overdub work that is going on through a lot of the song. We're going to do like the main rhythm parts and the solo. As you know, there's a lot of like guitar overdubs going on throughout a lot of the song, but kind of play it like he does really live, where he's just kind of he's doing all the riffs and stuff like that, and then he just does his solo as well. So we're going to check that out. Now before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. It really helps you see new videos of mine that I release, which I release quite often, and hopefully you'll watch those as well too. And if you really like what I do here on YouTube, please support it by joining my Guitar Academy. You're going to see a link to that in the description below. It's the best way to support anything I do online. That link will give you a free 7-day trial to my academy, which is like my online guitar school with complete courses for beginners and more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone. I'm there every Saturday morning on like a live stream with just Academy members, so you can ask me questions in real time, and you get personalized support from me beyond that as well. So please go check it out. All right, so let's jump into the track. So we have this really cool like arpeggiated picking part that is really kind of like this intro and slash first verse. Like I said, I'm not doing any of the overdubs here, so it's just this. All right, and then you'll see here acoustic, it's kind of doing the same thing. I think it's like a 12 string. So we're going to start here with just the this B power chord. So this is going to hold the second fret there on the A, fourth on the D and the G. And you're going to pick across from the A string. I'm going to call it the A string. I know it's like an A flat, but we're just going to call it like a standard tuned guitar to make it easy. So we're going to pick across the chord from the A string over to the G. So A, D, G. Then we're going to do the kind of the same thing, except the bass note is not going to be this second fret here on the A string. It's going to be the third fret there on the low E. So you're going to pick that note as the bass note, and then go up and pick the fourth fret there on the D and the G and the G. So we have this. All right, and then we're going to play the open A string, and then the fourth fret there on the G, so just that much of it. So we have this. And then we're going to go back to the chord that we were doing before, so that second fret being held on the A, the fourth on the D, and fourth on the G, but we're going to have the low E under it. So kind of held the same way, except we're going to pick across. So that's the open E, then the A string, D, G, D, A, and then back to the G, and back to the D. So far we have this. Now he's going to mix it up the second time around. We start kind of going through that same progression again, but it's played a little bit differently. So that's going to start the same way. We're going to start with that B power chord picked across, and then we're going to move over to the third fret on the low E. So that's the same. The first two chords that we're picking across are the same. And then from there, we're going to have this. So that's going to be that open A to that fourth fret on the G, like we did before. But then we're going to go back to the open A, then the third fret on the low E string, then the open E. So we have this. So we have this all together. And then when you get to that open E, that gives you an opportunity to grab that chord again, which is that second fret on the A, fourth on the D, and fourth on the G. So you're letting that ring for a second, and then you're just gonna pick the A string, then the G, D, and A string. So we have this all together for the whole riff. And then you just kind of start everything over. Now, when you have to start the riff over, you notice what I'll do with my index finger. Watch this. Right here. When I want to start the riff over, I'm gonna let the tip of that index finger touch the low E string to to stop it. Quit it, E. So we want it to not ring anymore. So we want to silence it by just touching the bottom of it. And then you can keep picking, now it sounds like this is the root instead of this, so. Right here. And then at the end, you do it again to start everything over. All right, so that's the clean part that you're hearing. Like I said, there's a lot of overdub. They add acoustic and all that stuff to it. But that's what's going on underneath that for intro and then the first verse. And then we jump into the chorus real quick, and that sounds like this. All right, so that's gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna have this B power chord that we were playing, we were arpeggiating before, but now we're gonna play that B power chord, that's this power chord, the second fret of the A string. And then it goes to a G power chord. So basically a G power chord, open G power chord, is when you're gonna be playing like a G major chord, but you're gonna eliminate the A string. So you basically have the third fret on this low E. You're gonna mute that A string at the bottom of that finger, which is the bottom of your middle finger. Open D, open G. So you want that open string sound. That's why it sounds a lot bigger than this. It sounds all right. That sounds better. So, and he's gonna get the top two notes in there as well too. The third fret there on the B and the high E. So, and then we're gonna grab this A power chord. So it's the open A power chord, the open A string and the second fret there on the D and the G. Hit that twice. Into this E power chord. So this E power chord, open E, second fret on the A and the D. Now what he'll do sometimes on this chord, you'll hear him hit the high E and the B with it. So it's still a big open E power chord. But what he's doing when he does that is he's gonna take his ring finger and he's muting that G string, because if you let that, it becomes an E minor chord and it doesn't work. You want to kind of roll this back a little bit so it mutes that G string. So when then you can strum all 6 strings. You just have a bunch of E's and B's, which is an E power chord. So, like that. And then we're gonna repeat, but it's a little bit different rhythm. So that's kind of that same chord to the B to the G. But here, instead of going, it goes. So it's a little bit hitting that, a little bit different rhythm on the 2 hits on the A power chord. And then you're gonna grab the third fret on the low E string on the way down to that chorus with us. So all together. Just repeat that. Now, at the end of the very first chorus, you're gonna hear this little trill. And it only happens there, leading into the I call this the pre-chorus / verse. It's almost like the verse, it's almost kind of a verse, chorus song. But this part sounds so different, it's almost like a pre-chorus into a chorus, like almost like pre-chorus, chorus, pre-chorus, chorus. But you could call this a verse too, but whatever. It sounds cool, but I don't really know what to call it. But anyway, the first time you hear it going into this riff, you're gonna hear a trill. So it's leaving the first chorus. And And that's just a trill between the open D and the second fret on the D. And that goes into this. And then back to the chorus. All right, so very, very cool riff. So after that trill, only the first time going into this riff you're gonna hear that trill. It goes into this power chord it's a B flat power chord. Obviously we're tuned down, so it's actually an A power chord now, but let's call it B flat because it makes it easier. First fret there on the A, third fret there on the D. So you're gonna basically pick that chord, slide up a fret, back down, and back up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to the first fret, do kind of the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry, go over to the low E string. But we're just gonna go up, one fret, and then back down, and then you're gonna kind of chug on that a bit. Like this. Let's repeat that. So after that, in the fourth time through, when you're doing it the fourth time, you're just gonna jump to this kind of this little ending that they put on it, which is a D power, open D power chord. So that's just the open D string, second fret there on the G, third fret there on the B, into an A power chord. So we have this. All right, from there it goes back to the same chorus riff that we just covered before. And then the same pre-chorus or verse riff, whatever, and then back into the chorus again. So nothing new there, it's just kind of going back and forth between the two riffs that we just covered. And then it gets us to the solo. Now the solo changes key, so the rhythm guitar part, if you guys want to know that, is this. So that's what's going on underneath this solo. So that's going to be this C sharp power chord off the fourth fret of the A, down to the A power chord, and then the B power chord that at the second fret there, played twice. It's the same rhythm as the chorus, basically. It's the same pattern. Just everything moved up a whole step. So that's the B twice, then over to that F sharp power chord, the second fret of the low E string. So we have this. And then the second time through it, it's gonna start the same. C sharp, A, and then this B is, remember, a different rhythm because it's like the second time through in the chorus. And then we have the open A to that F sharp power chord. So all together for the solo rhythm. And just repeat that. All right, so now let's take a look at the actual solo itself. I'll play it through it real quick and I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. Very, very, very cool solo here. So we're going to start here with a unison bend off this. So that's going to be the second fret there on the B, and then the fourth fret on the G string. So you play those two together, and then bend up that note on the G string until it matches the note on the B string. And then come back down. Kind of without the bend, pick those two notes without the bend. So it's So that right there is going to be 2 on the A to the 4th fret, hit twice. Then play 2-4 again, kind of palm muted there, and then it slides into the 6th fret there on the D string, down to 4, then a few times on that 6 again. So these are kind of some palm muting on these notes. From there we have this. So that's going to be a little legato lick. So we're going to start here at the 4th fret there on the D string. Hammer on 6, pull back off to 4, and slide down to 2 there. So this. When you get down to the 2, then you're going to pick that again, hammer on 4, pull back off to 2, slide down to 1. So, and then he's going to climb up. Just kind of makes it really aggressive at first, kind of heavily pointed. So you play the 4 on the A string, then play 1, 2, 4 on the D. Pick that again and slide the 6. So it's kind of all palm muted until you get to that slide. Then you're going to hammer on 4 to 6 on the G string. From there, kind of playing this palm muted 6th fret on the 6th fret of the G, and then pulling off 9 to 6. Let's do that a couple times. And then we have this next phrase. So that starts with a trill at the 9th fret on the B string, a trill between 9 and 12. Into a bend there at the 12th fret there on the B. So after that, you're going to pull off 12 to 9. So pull off 12 to 9 on the B, and then pull off 11 to 9 on the G. And then bend and release that 11 on the G, down to 9. Over to 11 on the D, and then into the double stops here at the 12th fret on the G, 9th fret on the G and the B. So this. And you're going to end the solo with this. So we're going to hammer 9 to 11 on the A string. And then you're going to pick that note a couple palm muted there a couple times. On the 11 on the A string. And then play 9, 11 on the D string. And then you're going to come over and grab the double stops at the 11th fret across the G and the B. And then down to the 9 across the G and the B. Then jump back here and you're going to grab the 4th fret on the A string. And it's a slow kind of half-step bend. And you release it, and it goes back into that riff. So a very, very cool solo. I mean, Jerry's always coming up with these really, really unique solos. Rhythmic, melodic, and they fit the song absolutely perfectly. So he's just amazing at that. So after the solo, we just go back into the same intro. Now it's kind of the same riff every once in a while when they're back into the midsection. You know, they're adding a lot of overdubs and stuff, but they might cut it in half one time through. So you got to kind of pay attention if he's playing the riff just all the way through, or he just kind of cut it in half. He does that like once, but for the most part, he's just playing the riff straight through. It can be kind of hard to hear with all the overdubs and stuff. And then it just gets back to the same and like chorus and stuff to the end of the song. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.